Hello and welcome to another episode of What's Inside. Today we are looking at the reprint of the classic Car Wars box set. This is by Steve Jackson Games. This is the 4th edition, 4th printing. And came out in 2015, published July 2015. Retails for about 20 bucks. Sometimes you can find it for a little more, sometimes a little less. This is a classic board game. Especially for the older people like me. If you don't own this in your collection, I highly recommend picking it up. It's a lot of fun building cars to blow each other up with. Now inside we're going to see 103 full color die cut car counters, storage bags, and turning key. 64 page rule book plus extra tables and record sheets. Two-sided game map with auto duel arena and raceway. And 4 6-sided die. Now, like I said, this is a classic game. There's different versions of it out there. I have the deluxe edition. This one is a reprint of the original box set. So let's open this up and see what is inside. This one's actually my buddy Wyatt's. He picked it up recently and was nice enough to let me open it. I think he's got another copy of Car Wars. But this is the vintage version. Alright, so as you can see, our little vehicles come pre-cut in a plastic bag. So we'll look a little closer at these in a little bit. Here's our 6-sided die, and they're just 4 little 6-sided dice. I have lots of other dice. These would probably never be opened. I know Wyatt's got a ton more too, so those will probably be forever sealed. Alright, and this is it. So let's see what we got here. Here's our rule book wrapped around the turn counter, which is in here. Now you need this. I've seen these online. Some people, fan sites and whatnot, have them online too, but you definitely want to not lose this and be careful with it. It is just cardstock. So you need this to play the game now. If you want to turn your vehicles, you have to have it. And it's got everything demarcated so you can calculate your drift and everything. So you have to have that. Make sure that's in the box if you're buying this used, if you don't have another copy of the game. Because this is vital to getting anything done in the game. So let's get that out of the way. And then inside of the rule book is also tucked a cycle record sheet. This was tucked into page 13 just in case somebody wants to know. And we've got a car record sheet. Now the car record sheet is one you're going to want to pay the most attention to. It's the one most people use. So you got your car with some faded extra tires because you can add modifications. Turn speed, handling class, all the information is on your character sheet for your car. And on the other side is the weapons list. So you'll probably want to make copies of these because you only get one of each. And then the cycle record sheet is for people driving motorcycles, obviously. Sidecar, bike, same thing. Turning, handling class, weapons, ammo, name, vehicle name, character's name, player's name. And on the other side of the cycle sheet is the vehicle weight capacity chart. You got your vehicle weight capacity, acceleration, top speed, handling class, total cost of the vehicle, so you can calculate everything. It looks more intimidating than it actually is. So let's put those back in the book. Now the book itself is 50 some pages, 60 I think total. Some of the pages have kind of stuck together. It's just stapled together pretty generically, just like the old style version was. Yeah, it's 63 pages. There's the index and abbreviations. Different scenarios. There's a lot here. The print type is fairly large, so it actually looks more intimidating than it actually is. Cycles, trikes, body types, chassis, power plants. transmissions, etc. So yeah, it's pretty basic, pretty straightforward. Some decent art. It looks just like the original. I've seen plenty of the original copies over the years, and it looks just like them. So it's basically just a reprint of the exact thing, and it's got everything you need to know all in one book. It's a complete game. There are expansions. There's the Arena expansion, and they had the old Auto Duel Quarterly magazine, which added a lot of scenarios and stuff like that that you could add on. So you can still find those fairly cheap too online. Car Wars had a dedicated following, but it's died off considerably. So you should be able to pick up some of the old issues fairly cheap. Now here's our track. This is a big fold-out map. I'm not going to be able to fit it all on this little table. So there's really not much point in going beyond this with it, but you can see each one of these is the size of a page of the book, core book, and it goes 4 lengths long and 4 lengths across. But it's a nice map, and it's a double-sided map. So you got this one, and then you've got what lets you create like a cityscape, so you can put buildings and stuff in. And you know, we used to get graph paper and make our own maps. There were a lot of other maps available too, because they added like tanks and semis, and there was even a boats one. So there's a lot to it that can go on. So let me adjust the camera and we'll take a look at the tokens. Alright, now there's a lot of tokens here. With these box sets, a lot of times tokens will get mixed from one set to another. So you'll have to be aware of that. We'll try and go through as much as we can here. These are numbered as different car numbers, the little red ones here. Like, see car 12, car 13, car 3. Then we get different things like oil slicks and damage. We've got some smoke there. And we've got this like raspberry jam mix going on here. No, there's big oil slick. There's a vehicle there. I think, the smoke cloud is from, I think, vehicle fire. Then there's different ones that say handling, because certain vehicles require that should you do something wrong, as I recall. There's also these little red ones that say cars, also say cycle, and they are also numbered. So you've got several different designs of the same thing, like there's different kinds of oil slicks. There's some spikes. Now, I personally really like this game. I haven't played it in probably a decade. These used to be on thinner, like, almost like a card stock that you'd get in like a shirt, if you buy a dress shirt. And you'd have to cut out the pieces. So it's nice these are pre-cut for me, and on slightly better card stock from what I can tell. And some of them have numbers on them, like this one's 13, this one's 15, because they represent different body types. There's another smoke cloud. Then there's little bikes. There's broken vehicles, so you can represent that. That looks like the car from Spy Hunter, if you're old enough to remember that. These look like some wheels. So yeah, there's a lot of different little pieces here. I'm going to try and get it all laid out. I apologize for this taking so long, but it's hard to do this and look at the screen on the camera and keep it all in frame, because there's so much little stuff here. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of this game. I think every gamer should play it at least once, so you can get kind of an idea, not just because it's a vintage game that's been redone and, you know, a fabulous piece of childhood nostalgia or anything, but because it was a groundbreaking game. And there's not a lot of demolition derby type games with cars anymore. I know there's a few trying to make a resurgence, but they really don't compare to this one. Had a lot more depth to it than most, and it was definitely very groundbreaking. Steve Jackson Games has always been kind of ahead of things on a lot of games. I think Steve Jackson really did a lot for gaming in general that other companies wish they could have done. Of course, if you really want some fun, you could go look up the time they got raided by the FBI when they were writing the Cyberpunk book. That's an interesting bit of nostalgia for you older people and something to keep in mind from moral panics of the past for you younger people, because that sort of thing always comes back around. Alright, we're running out of screen space there. There's a lot of little pieces here, but they are pretty solid. As long as you're careful and don't get these like really wet, they should hold up pretty well, actually. My copy of Car Wars is still in really good shape because I take good care of my stuff, and I recommend everybody else does the same. So these are the tokens that you get in the core box. There's a lot here, especially these little ones. It looks like they go up to car 16, sorry. That's the highest number I see. Cycle 4 appears to be the highest. So, yeah, and then there's at least 4 of these smoke clouds, 5 oil slicks, 4 of these raspberry-looking clouds. I forget what those are. I think that's foam. And there's a lot of cars, so you can see it on the screen. I'm not going to sit here and try and count everything, because that'd be boring for everyone. But, yeah, overall, everything in here, it looks low end, but it's retro. It's supposed to look that way. And it's still actually pretty decent quality. So if you get a chance, I highly recommend playing Car Wars. I think every gamer should own a copy of this. If not, just at least play it once. Because as far as retro games go, this is one of the best. And it's definitely something that inspired a lot of other games and was very innovative for its time. So this is definitely something I think should be in every collection, but like I said, you should at least play it once if you're not going to own it. But I think younger players that haven't played this will enjoy it because the setting's fun, and it's definitely got a Death Race 2000 feel, and it's probably actually the inspiration for the game. I've heard that in other places, but I can't prove it. But it definitely has that feel. So, I mean, what can you lose out on? Cars, guns, Roger Corman, you know, best of the best here. But that is what is inside the Car Wars Retro box set. Like I said, this is the 4th edition, 4th printing. It was put out in 2015. Most people just seem to call it the Retro box or the reissue. So you'll probably find it under those keywords. But yeah, like I said, it's 20 bucks. I've seen it go on sale before, and it seems to be fairly widely available still. So you should be able to find it pretty easily. I think this is a gaming classic and should definitely be in every collection. But at least try and play it a few times if you have any interest in car combat or racing games. Car combat especially, because car combat games are the coolest. Racing's dumb. Car combat's where it's at. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun, and one of the older versions did have it where you could use Hot Wheels cars, and I have a copy of that somewhere. I'll have to dig it out. I think it's with my role-playing stuff. But yeah, this is definitely a must for hardcore gamers and people that like car games. But you've heard my opinion on it. We've seen what's in the box. That's going to wrap it up. As always, thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel. And we hope to see you on the next episode of What's Inside.